Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Classic Live Album War. Today we're going to kind of continue on the theme of this weekend with some more jazz fusion gems. All right, the first contestant here, released in 1970, Miles Davis at Fillmore East, as a matter of fact. Okay, double album set. All right, on the other end of the ring, coming in at 175 pounds. Right, these are light heavyweights here. We've got Weather Report, 8:30, released in 1979. Called 8:30 because rumor has it, or history has it, that the band always liked to kind of go on stage at 8:30. Not 8 o'clock, 8:30. So 8:30 start time, right? So kind of cool. So let's take a look at each one of these. Why don't we? All right, so many great albums released from the Fillmore East performances right around that time. So, again, in that era, you had Bill Graham booking gigs at the Fillmore, and he would have, all sorts of acts and all sorts of genres. So you'd see, Miles Davis playing with Led Zeppelin and Jethro Tull and, the Allman Brothers Band. It didn't really matter. Tiny Tim, he would just throw, like a handful of bands up there, right? Didn't matter. So you had Miles and company were actually a lot of bills with a lot of rock bands at the time, because that's kind of what Miles was into. And he didn't mind it, right? He was trying to kind of break new ground and reach different listeners. So right around this time, this is the classic fusion era, right? So here you have recorded at between June 17th and the 20th of 1970 at the Fillmore East in New York City. So this album takes a bunch of performances from those evenings. And we've got in the band at the time, all right, Miles on trumpet, of course. You've got Steve Grossman on tenor and soprano sax and flute. Chick Corea on Fender Rhodes. Okay, Keith Jarrett on Fender organ. Okay, Dave Holland on bass. Jack DeJohnette on drums, and Airto Moreira on percussion. Okay, so you've got some really notable names there, okay, from that jazz era, the fusion era. Okay, pretty cool hearing Correa and Jarrett in the same recordings on the same stage, playing all sorts of wacky stuff. I mean, this is a pretty intense album. Okay, this is not the early, very tuneful, melodic Miles Davis. This is the noisy, furious, dissonant, okay, raucous Miles Davis of the late 60s, early 70s. This is, before he would actually start doing more of that kind of like funk stuff, which came a couple years later. But really, really cool stuff here. Lots of really great tunes. Okay, what do we have here? So we've got Directions. You've got Bitches Brew, Pieces of Bitches Brew, The Mask, It's About That Time, more themes from Bitches Brew. You got, what else is here? Wednesday Miles, Thursday Mile, basically what they did, depending on which issue you have or which reissue you have. They kind of title it differently. So you've got basically, and on my set, I believe, it's broken up into, Wednesday music, Thursday music, Friday and Saturday. Okay, because he played those nights. And each set is like, 25 minutes long or something like that. So, but, you listen to it and you hear all the little bits and pieces of all those tracks that you kind of knew from the last couple albums, all right, that he released. So, but all in all, it's just this kind of like undulating, just fire-breathing dragon, right, of all sorts of crazy sounds and bursts of trumpet and all these wacky electric piano and organ and stuff like that. The furious rhythms, just a listen unlike any other. Okay, a listen unlike any other. It's just quite intense. I dig it. All right. I dig it. So many. I could have chosen. I had so many Miles Davis live albums to choose. Like I said, Pangea, Agartha, Live Evil. There's just so many great live albums from that time period. But I decided to go with this one because this one to me is like the most intense. Dark Magus is another one. Great stuff. So in 1979, we've got 8:30 from Weather Report. Of course, this is the most famous and chart-topping and renowned lineup of the band. Okay, obviously with Joe Zawinul on all sorts of keyboards, Wayne Shorter on sax, Jaco Pastorius on bass, okay, Peter Erskine on drums, Eric Zawinul on percussion, and then you got a guest choir on one tune on here. But that's kind of the, Erskine, Pastorius, Shorter, Zawinul, and Pastorius. That's the probably most well-known lineup of this band. But they went through a lot of different changes. And in fact, they had a live album from Tokyo a few years before that's also really good, but a little bit different. So here we've got some really strong tracks from the band. Kicks off with Black Market, okay, excellent song. Scarlet Woman, okay, an older track. Teen Town, Jocko's Teen Town's on here. A Remark You Made. Got Slang, right? A lot of solos on this album. Okay, so each guy in the band gets to kind of do their thing. Slang is a great workout for Pastorius. In a Silent Way, obviously, okay, because Shorter actually played with Miles Davis, right? We got Birdland, the well-known track. Thanks for the Memory. A little medley with Badia, Boogie Woogie Waltz. Okay, then you got the title track 830. Then Brown Street. All right, The Orphan and Sightseeing. Okay, so all sorts of good stuff. Like I said, a lot of solos on here. The sound is great. It's a very good sounding live album. Some folks may prefer the Tokyo live album from early in their career before Jocko joined. That's probably a little bit more avant-garde sounding than this. This is the kind of bright and bubbly fusion that the band were producing when Jocko joined the band. Okay, but really damn good. I mean, these guys are great musicians, right? And these are both tremendous live albums. All right, tremendous live albums. And again, there's like a few live albums from each band. So we could do like 3 or 4 successive shows of Miles versus Weather Report, right? Because there's so many great live albums. But as we do on all these shows, I got to pick a favorite. You all have to pick a favorite, right? Because we're doing a tournament to see who advances to round 2 while we, make our way to crowning your favorite live album of all time. So if I had to choose one of these today, I'm probably going to give the slight edge to my man Miles at the Fillmore East. I dig this album a lot. Like I said, it's noisy, it's raucous, it's not the easiest listen in the world, but there's just something about it that I love so much. It's just rumbling and grooving and squawking, and it's cool stuff, right? It's just noisy Miles Davis at his best, and I totally dig it. And like I said, I love hearing Chick and Jarrett playing together. That's pretty special. So that's going to get my vote today. Unanimous decision. All right, it's going to go the full 12 rounds, but in the end, I think the Mighty Miles and company are going to edge out Weather Report here for me. But your mileage may vary. You may prefer this. They're both great albums, right? Can't go wrong with either or. I love them both. So let us know which one you like. There's going to be a little white circle in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. If you don't see it, run your mouse cursor over it. It'll appear for you there. Okay, and you can pick from Miles. You can pick Miles Davis or Weather Report, whichever one you prefer. Let us know in the comments down below why you made your choice. Remember, there's no right or wrong answer here, right? It's just based on what we prefer. We all like things differently. And then also go vote on our Facebook page because we've got a poll going on over there. After 6 days, I will stop counting the votes from both, and one of these two will make it onto round 2. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. So this is on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube every damn day. Tune in the rest of this weekend. We got more jazz fusion stuff, and then we're going to do more battles throughout this week. We should probably be finishing up, I would say, roughly a week and a half from now, and then round 2 will begin a week after that. Okay, so stay tuned, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.